You're watching Rurouni K95's anime review on Interlude. Hi, Ruronis. This is your pal Rurouni K95 here. Today's anime review, we get to cover an anime OVA that is based on a visual novel. For today's anime review is Interlude. Interlude is an anime and visual novel by Longshot told in a parallel novel style that follows the events around the three women. Interlude was originally released for the Sega Dreamcast on March 13th, 2003, which is a rare occurrence for visual novels. Most of are released for Windows first, PlayStation 2, and Windows ports, and were also later re-released. The PS2 version received the best budget price re-release on March 1st, 2007. So that's not what I'm discussing about particularly. But anyways, because Wikipedia, the plot about the anime series, the anime OVA series Interlude, there's something that Wikipedia doesn't even actually know about, because this anime OVA Interlude was directed by Tatsuya Nagamine, who is known for One Piece Film Z and Dragon Ball Super Broly, and he also worked on Saint Seiya Omega and many of his other works, many other anime movies and TV series, on any certain anime titles that he has worked on. But anyways, Interlude anime OVA was made by the company Toei Animation, which is known for the work on the Dragon Ball series, including Air Master and many a dozen of other majority of anime titles in general. This was really aired from March 25th, 2004 until August 27th, 2004, after 3 episodes for the anime OVA title Interlude as well. And yet, so the 3 episode OVA was directed by Tatsuya Nagamine, who was produced and licensed by Toei Animation. It premiered in 2004 on the channel called Sky Perfect TV and was released on DVD in 2004. It was distributed in English-speaking countries by Ginion Entertainment. A Japanese audio English subtitle version was made available for streaming free on Crunchyroll in April 2011 as well. So that's the thing about for this when it comes to anime titles that have been adapted into like visual novels, which are basically on many other titles, because there are many moments on this particular on this anime review on Interlude, because this is your typical anime OVA that encapsulated only 3 episodes that is adapted from the visual novel as well, because unlike many other anime titles that are adapted from visual novels, in like most of them on certain anime titles, which only dreams of what they were doing, creative work that'll stand the test of time, they have worked on it like on every certain anime titles, on every one of them, to or less than the satisfactory results on top of accordingly as well. So this the anime starts off with Akio, who is in high school, who with his childhood friend and Tama. The day goes on usual, however, every often he begins to see odd things, experiences vivid nightmares, and remembers people, events, others around him. Don't he bumps into a girl named Aya, and through her, he realizes that he isn't alone, because he isn't the last person all around the world as well in what he experiences. Well, that is the question in this particular. If you ever watch Interlude as well, yep. So, by this time, she too has experienced the disappearance of her entire town, and has memory lapses and saw things other around her didn't before they disappeared. But they both soon discover there was an unnamed and ambiguous catastrophic event that wiped out all but 12 humans on Earth. But the survival of these two, well, a virtual 12 people, a virtual world created inside their own minds was built for them to continuously live through their own memories. this world collapses when MC and Aya discover the truth and decide to leave their minds and experience the dystopian real world together as well. The section that I thought was solid for the amount of the time of over episodes allotted, I really liked the concept of the anime. There's just something about the dystopian futures and matrices that are so polarizing. I thought the pacing of the story was well executed, and I enjoyed all of the plot twists. I honestly didn't see most of them coming. The only qualm I have with the plot is that there are quite a lot of plot holes or just aspects that they were never gone over again. To expect, if you see what it is about the anime OVA like Interlude, to explain about if you ever see this OVA title as well. Yep. So the summary I explained about how a lot of the sank for being conscious, but the Matrix had 11 people living under through their memories through one girl, Mitsuki, who sacrificed herself to basically be this like the server for these created worlds to take place. The whole idea was actually executed by the MC's older brother and his wife, Mitsuki's older sister. Why were there only 12 survivors? Well, that is the question, what you see in the anime OVA interlude. Why does she have to sacrifice herself so everyone can live inside their own minds? Well, that is a questionable reason. Why did it just so happen that the MC's brother was able to figure all this out? By this time, everything they are seeing, experiencing, must have come from their life before the catastrophe, whether conscious or unconsciousness, or either in many other way, which is either one way or the other as well. So where does Aya fit in? It seemed as though she lived in a completely different town and attended a completely different school as the MC as far as the audience knows. How does she play in this part a part of this? Everyone else the MC meets, who are they? What relationship do they have? And why with the MC before the apocalypse? None of that was really answered. If it was really questionable in the, especially if you ever watched the anime OVA interlude, or if you at least you have in general, for the results as well as how you expect if you ever see this for this drum ever what they did up to that moment ever called for this anime like interlude, which is having the dramatic power as well, because that is the questionable reason as well. By this time, so it seemed as if though she lived in a completely different town and attended a completely a different school as the MC as far as the audience knows. How does she play in the part of this? Everyone else the MC meets, who are they? What relationship do they have with the MC before the apocalypse? None of that was really answered. I suppose you were just expecting as to suspend your disbelief because the whole anime takes place in the reincarnation of life, so this could happen. I mean, the art, however, in Interlude was okay for the time. Everyone was modeled very differently, which is always very nice to see. Sometimes background characters, secondary characters, sometimes get no love or effort to put into their design and makes them somewhat memorable. But this anime puts in some effort. The MC looks like a standard anime protagonist, but Aya, Tama, the other secondary students, the three older women they were meet were all very distinct. Animation was a little rough. There were moments where its perspectively was wonky. Sometimes going up downstairs didn't look like that at all. Animation didn't perfectly line up with the sound, especially if you the karaoke scene. The animation was a little sloppy in the plot in some spots, as if how you expect if they would have done a better job on that as well. The voice acting was very fair, nothing bad about it, but the music and the sound design was pretty good. And one of the things I think the anime gets right successfully impactful timings of the sound effects to induce tension, fear, or confusion. There was a lot of singing in this anime that wasn't the best though. Tama's VA is not the best singer, but it added to the reality of the characters, how you expect what it is to explain to give it in the title, particularly about what it is about Interlude as well. I felt like the characters were very hit or miss. They were either really good or really added to the plot in some way if they were at this point, or they didn't at all. They totally didn't at all. I think characters were Aya, MC, and Tama, just because they were all felt the realest to me. Tama really felt that like they was longing for something she didn't really know what she wanted, and what she wanted just to out of reach. She had a lot of personality. Aya and MC didn't have the same personality or energy. They had a strong motives that influenced their decision making. MC wanted to understand what was happening with this his world and why he was constantly having these nightmares, while Aya was desperately trying to reunite herself with her family and friends. They were both driven by the truth, and it was really interesting to see what them took them both. I would also consider MC's older brother and Mitsuki as hits because they were too motivated. The characters had a lot of stake in keeping a secret in order to maintain the status quo and to protect the greater good in a sense as well. Completely misses the three women who worked for the city hall. They truly were just as a fan. There is just there as a fan service. The old pervy man they also meet with a shotgun doesn't really add anything to the plot as it was intended. Mitsuki's older sister has no motivations or of much of personality. She isn't really much give and really even given much airtime. There are minions who roam dystopian world controlled by Mitsuki, and they didn't have any their experience explained. They're just a random hoodlum, which I'm going to assume unconsciously represent looters and thugs. They appear in the post-apocalyptic to raid and pillage the setting in Interlude. What was left of the resources, they added nothing. But overall, my enjoyment, because I really love the philosophical nature of the anime and the basic premise in Interlude, I was really overwhelmed to disbelief to allow the plot to unfold the way that what I did. When you acknowledge that MC spent a countless amount of time with his own mind, you can take of excuse the weird or random things that have no explanation to view the story of what it is and what it represents. They tackle the age of the old debate whether or not you should be a sweeping decisions or on a pleasure or select a few of it's worth sacrificing one of the well-being group. It tackles the basic human question of what is real, as well as debating whether or not it's even worth taking the risk to leave safety of your mind to venture into the unknown. It also tackles the distinction between the familial platonic love between MC and Talma versus, I'm assuming, of its more sexual or adult kind of partnership between MC and Aya, of how this anime almost has to explain about the plot, basically, because Wikipedia, this is something that Wikipedia doesn't even actually know for this anime like Interlude, if it has needs like a plot or summary about how it tells a story or what it represents or what it is about in general. Unlike most visual novel adaptations in anime in general, particularly, I mean, this anime has an English dub because it has some of the cast from the English dub on many certain anime titles that are Canadian English dubs, like for the Geek dub of the Sailor Moon series that has particularly appeared in the English dub for Interlude when it was released on DVD. This anime series OVA title Interlude only has lasted about 3 episodes, particularly for how you expect about if it was intended to be a movie or a TV series or a TV special for this, but it's basically a 3 episode OVA. What Interlude has intended to be, if it has needs to have like a plot or summary, in my opinion as well. So that's gonna be it for my anime review on Interlude for today's anime review. Thank you for watching. But before we go, here's my thoughts on this anime Interlude. When I first watched it, I was particularly fascinated that this needs to have a plot, and this looks like something Wikipedia doesn't know about because this anime OVA Interlude needs to have a plot or summary of how the pacing of how the story, how it represents, or how what is it told. But that is the question, though. Hope subscribe for content. My anime plant link in the description below. Share this video on your Twitter, Facebook. If you have Twitter and Facebook account, all social media, be sure to give this video a thumbs up by clicking on the like button on this video. Feel free to leave in the comments in the comments section below. Be sure to subscribe to my channel, RoniK95. Feel free to join my channel, especially if you're new to my channel. Hit the notifications bell button. Keep it otaku for this anime review, and I got another anime review coming up next year. Stay tuned for my next anime review. I got another anime from the 90s for tomorrow's anime review on 8 Man After. Stay tuned for my next anime review on 8 Man After, because you won't want to miss another anime review.